he's the one senior in their top 10 scorers, so he's a big leader and a big force for the Mahtomedi Zephyrs.
These two teams come in with a combined 14-game winning streak. 9 of that is a 9-game win streak for the Mahtomedi Zephyrs. They'll put it on the line against Egan. We'll talk about the Wildcats when we come back. Step away for a moment. Back after this on PrepSpotlight.tv.
Prep Spotlight wants to help student athletes in their quest to take their games to the collegiate level. Contact the email below, editor@schoolspacemedia.com. If you are interested in a recruiting video you can send along to college coaches. Doesn't matter the sport, we can assist in putting together a high-quality piece that can help set you apart. Again, that email address is editor@schoolspacemedia.com.
Studies show that the younger a person starts using drugs and alcohol, the more likely they'll become addicted. Know the signs and symptoms. Find the resources families need at hazeldenbettyford.org/families.
Back here at Minnetonka High School side of the boys semifinals. Trying to punch a ticket to the championship game at Chanhassen. J.W. Cox alongside head coach Scott Cater. The Egan Wildcats, the #1 seed in this tournament. And you never knew, Egan, Eastview, 1 and 2 throughout the state rankings throughout this regular season, who would be in this spot to be the #1 seed in the tournament. But it's Egan. What do you think made the difference for the Wildcats down the stretch of the year?
Consistent play. When they play fast, they play consistent, they move the ball. They're fast, athletic, big, strong kids, strong shooters, and you know what? It's that strong goaltending on the backside as well. Jack Currington plays strong back there. He leads that defense. So you're going to see a quick-paced offense, and you're going to see strong goaltending from the Egan Wildcats.
Currington made 11 saves in their first-round victories. They scored the most goals of anybody in the first round with 19, and leading the way with 4 more to give him 54 on the season. Brandon Wirtz, the senior attacker.
Yeah, I tell you, Brandon Wirtz sure moves the ball well and puts it in the back of the net as well. So you're going to watch number 8 in white look to push the ball on offense, and then also he's sneaky backdoor, so he finds open spaces as well. Those little lanes that a defense sometimes gives you. He's a kid who anticipates the play so well that he's just able to be there. And then when he does release a shot, it's moving. So he finds rope, he hits the back of the net, and the Wildcats celebrate. He's only done that over 60 some times this year or whatever. So he's playing really well.
50 goals throughout the regular season in section tournament play, and 4 more here in the postseason. 3rd trip all time to the state tournament for the Mahtomedi Zephyrs. They went in 14 and 15, and now here again after taking a year off. And then it's the 3rd trip as well on the other side for the Egan Wildcats. They went to their first state tournament in 2010. Now back here again in 2017, their 2nd straight state tournament appearance. We'll have our opening face-off. The wind is blowing. It has been all day. That's, keeping it a little more manageable in the low 80s. These teams ready and raring to go there to try and keep their hopes of a state championship alive. The Red Knights of Benilde St. Margaret's are waiting on Saturday. Who's going to join them? Find out after this on PrepSpotlight.tv.
Visit Duluth. Authentic moments. Authentic memories. More at visitduluth.com.
Your home for Minnesota high school sports is PrepSpotlight.tv. With dozens of free live stream games each week, catch all the action live or on demand. And if you miss an episode of Minnesota Prep Spotlight, you can see them all right here on PrepSpotlight.tv.
And we are underway here in semifinal number 2. The final semifinal, as Coach Cater mentioned off air, in between games. There's 2 more lacrosse games that count for the most left in this season. The second will be the championship game. The other is this one, the Mahtomedi Zephyrs trying to work it back after Egan took it at him on the first possession.
Yeah, Holmbrink won the first faceoff cleanly, raked it back to himself, got his back to his defensive end. It's just Lucas Holmbrink working hard, winning those faceoffs. And so now they've got a chance to sub in, get their offensive middies out on the field, and see what they do in the first possession. Man, they played fast on Tuesday, so we'll see how it is here.
On Tuesday, they put up 13 goals in a 13-12. Maybe the game of the tournament so far against Prior Lake, certainly with those 2 teams matching up early as the 4-5 seed. Could have very easily been a later tournament matchup as that one was deflected away. Netminder on the other side, John Currington.
Yeah, what was most impressive on Tuesday is Mahtomedi scored 7 goals in the 4th quarter. It's been a long time since Prior Lake has ever given up 7 goals in a quarter. And they did it on Tuesday, and that's a credit to the Zephyrs really to get here. Now, you just had a good quick shot there by Timmy Lindquist. Lindquist didn't get much on the board on Tuesday, but he's really wanted to play well today. He had 1 assist, and so now he's looking to try to score.
Yeah, it was an 8-6 Prior Lake lead going into that 4th quarter on Tuesday. And the Zephyrs came back and were able to win it, battling back and forth. Falling down attempt, defender coming all the way into Currington. A little Wildcat on Wildcat crime going on after the shot from Josh Campbell.
Yeah, Josh Campbell has been an initiator all season. He likes to get the ball in his stick and then make a move. He makes a fast, athletic move to the inside, and the defender, trips over his own feet, kind of falls into the goal there. Mahtomedi maintains possession.
So Campbell for the Zephyrs. Trying to bounce up in front of the cage again. He's turned away. It was knocked away by the defense of Joseph Mills.
Yeah, I tell you, that's a great play by Mills, because what that does is that's an inside roll by Campbell. He tried to step to the inside, and the slide came on the backside.
Shot to the outside, coming back in from Campbell, and he gets it from the high left side of John Corrington.
Boy, I tell you, Campbell already has shown me 3 great things. He had a dodge on the wing where he was trying to initiate and help his team. Number 2, he came from goal line extended to try to inside roll where he plants his feet to step to the inside. He got slid upon, but they maintained possession, and now that the Zephyrs are looking to get him the ball, and he pulls the trigger and hits that far corner. To score early on Currington helps the Zephyrs let them know that they're going to be able to score against the first-team All-State, All-American goaltender of Egan, which is not easy to do. They've done it here with 10:08 left in the first quarter to take a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, Egan allowed just 7 goals per game, but the Zephyrs scored up over 13.5 goals per game on the season. Egan, of course, one of the top 2 scoring teams in the state. They win the draw for the first time, bring it in with Joe Hoffman.
Okay, so that's key, right? So now we're getting an answer by the Egan Wildcats. So Hoffman wins a face-off. He says, hey, you know what? Holmbrink's not going to win every one of these. And so now Egan's got a possession. Let's see this fast pace.
Quick fire, right side from Brandon Wirtz. Who else would take one of their initial shots? Their top scorer. But it's a crowded list at the top of the scoring. 3 players in Propson, Pfeiffer, and Wirtz with at least 30 goals on the season. The dodge to the pass in front. And was that deflected back in?
Yeah, so what that was that just a really quick split dodge at X by Prefer, what is it? Yep. So what he does is he steps right, he goes left, and then he gets it back to his right hand, and he finds Wirtz over there on the corner, makes that quick pass, and then Wirtz just buries it in the back of the net.
Isaac Prefer with 37 goals in the regular season, 3 goals already in the tournament. He picks up the big assist to Brandon Wirtz, his 5th score of the tournament. We're tied at 1.
Yeah, I really like that quick step, that jab step, and that move on the far side. I mean, that's the stuff you really want to have consistent play from your attackman, and that's a kid who just was able to execute that, got his hands free, made the pass, and Wirtz did the rest.
We're seeing vastly different styles than we did in game 1 of our semifinal actions. That was quickly Hohenbrink who scooped it up and tried to take the shot, deflected back into Currington.
Yeah, Eli Dolney actually had that hit him in the leg or the side. He's holding his side right now, kind of. Hohenbrink just hit him.
Egan back with it. We had a game where the Red Knights of Benilde St. Margaret's and the Wayzata Trojans each with a patient offensive set. Wildcats quickly took a shot off of their set offense moments ago to tie this game at 1.
Yeah, so now Egan's not wasting a lot of time. Again, they're initiating a dodge, and whether this is an authentic dodge or kind of a dummy dodge where the guy's just looking to see what the defense will do, that creates offense, and we didn't see this in the first game.
Nifty shot down low from Aaron Propson, his 3rd of the tournament, and it's 2 straight for the Wildcats.
So again, I mean, lacrosse can be a simple game. It can be a simple game if you're working hard and moving off ball and then looking to try to find the guys that get a little bit of space in between the defenders. When the defenders step to stop ball, they all create lanes. And so what you're seeing happen now is Egan is finding those lanes, moving the ball, and those guys are hitting the back of the net.
So with 8:49 remaining here in quarter number 1, the Wildcats off the quick shot from the Zephyrs take it the other way and score.
Yeah, if you're Ian Kegley, the goalie for Mahtomedi, you want to definitely get a save under your belt here pretty soon.
Zephyrs with Hohenbrink. Again, find their way to possession. Number again in the first round game, 20 for 21 in faceoffs. As Ian Kegley on the other side, 1-0 in the tournament with 6 saves in that opening round win.
Ah, dang, and he stepped in the crease. So that's a turnover in the sport of lacrosse. If the other team, you're going down on offense and you step in the other team's goalie crease, it goes the other way. And so now Egan gets kind of a free possession here almost with an extra one here on that mistake.
Wildcats with Mills will bring it ahead out of the South Suburban Conference, a tough conference where they went 8-1. They were 2-1 against the top 15 this season.
Okay, now there's another rule. So now we've got two quick plays with two different rules for lacrosse. One is stepping in the crease. You can't do that. The other thing is once you bring it past the 50-yard line, you've got 10 seconds to touch it inside the box, which is below the 30 on the football field and then inside the blue lines that are on the side. And Egan didn't do that, so now the ball goes back to Mahtomedi.
Basically just inside those numbers in the 30, or rather at the bottom of those numbers as you see them looking right now where that box is. And so each team with a quick turnover. 7.5 to go in quarter number one, and the 2-0 lead for the Wildcats. About in front, Nate Graslowitz.
Yep, Pillow was trying to initiate some offense there too, and both teams are doing this right away. So here's another initiator, right? So he's good skip pass.
Skipped all the way across, shot for Campbell, who scored their lone goal, and it was deflected and taken away.
Yeah, Lindquist wants to initiate, so does Campbell, so they're both showing that for the Zephyrs.
Wildcats sprinting quickly, drop it to a trailer, splits two defenders, takes the shot that goes wide.
Yeah, Sundberg wanted to shoot that regardless of what was happening. They had guys back behind to chase it, so there was no consequence there. Yeah, he missed the net, but Egan retains possession.
Tate Sundberg, the junior, yet to score here in the state tournament, but 9 goals throughout the season. Andrew Shivatal dodging from out front, his pass low to the ground and scooped up.
Yeah, what a great anticipating the play. Oh my!
And a quick shot right back the other way for Timmy Lindquist.
So that's Campbell going end to end. He's back down, stuck on defense because of the way the ride played out. He picks off a pass. He anticipates the play. He runs himself 70 yards down the field and shoots and scores. I mean, that's fast, athletic. He played a great shift of defense right there, got the ball down and just brought it down himself. And now he's got, 2 goals himself, and it's a 2-2 game.
So Campbell ties it up.
Here we got 6:33 left here at the end of the first, and we're all square, and this is a lot more back and forth than we had in the first game for sure.
There was one early goal there for Wayzata. They didn't score again until the fourth. We didn't have any third quarter goals in that first game. I doubt that's how this one's going to roll one way or the other. And it is staying close here early. Holmgren in a fight with Joe Hoffman. And it's Hoffman who clears it back for the Wildcats to be able to scoop it up.
Yeah, it's a good ground ball scoop. You want to get that back after giving up a goal.
Well, when Pixler got it, he's going off as the changes come for Egan. Now their pass back out towards the top as Aaron comes back for the Zephyrs. Graslowitz scooped it. Already looking to attack.
Yep, so that's another rule in lacrosse. If you get it inside your offensive end and then throw a bad pass and it goes across the midfield line, you've set up on offense technically, and now you've got it back. It's over and back, and so that's another turnover.
So the Zephyrs, they've scored the last goal after they scored the first to tie things up now at 2. Pilla initiating again, and he goes low left side of Corrington, and he beats him.
Yeah, neither of these goalies have made a big save yet, so I've noticed that for sure. And so maybe we've got some goaltending jitters. You want to be able to, step to the ball, make a save, run it clear for your team. You haven't been able to see that yet, so now the score lamp just keeps lighting up, and Mahtomedi takes the lead with 5:37, here in the first quarter, and that's a big thing. I think one or both of these goalies wants to start, making that save to help their defense out.
Pilla, just a sophomore. He picks up his 5th goal of the state tournament, 19th overall with 8 assists. So off the faceoff, this one's loose for the Zephyrs to pick up, and it's Ben Putney who had it initially, now still trying to pluck it out of the air, and the whistle be for a hole, then it's going to go against the Wildcats.
Yeah, and it was Putney who was a big hero in that game against Prior Lake, scoring that late goal to give them the victory. So he's a kid who can make plays as well. And so here's Campbell, one of our initiators that we've seen so far here in this game. He's got the ball in his hands. He's working it to Lindquist, who also is another initiator. So, and then Pilla has been too. So they've got kids all over the field that are willing to go to the net, stress that Egan defense, and try to look to see if they can get that pass.
Yeah, the game tying and winning goals coming about 33 seconds apart with Pilla and then Putney. For that 13-12 victory. Wildcats end up again with possession. Bright sunny day as we stare into it. Most of the fans do as well. There's some on the far side here at Minnetonka. Quick run, long stick shot. Nicholas Eaton. Excuse me, they said that was Joey Mills.
Yep, it was Mills, 22, and then that counts as a save. So now we've got a save under his belt for Kegley down there.
See if that sparks him. It was the shot that rolls wide. It was Ben Putney that time.
41 for Mahtomedi. Possession stays with the Zephyrs.
Each team with a pair of goals here over the first 7+. Quarter number 1. Dodge from the top for Lindquist. And he lost it back in behind the goal line.
Yeah, he just went to fake that pass. It fell off his back of his stick, and now it's going the other way with Egan, so that's just a turnover.
Played ahead to Propson. Back into a cutter. Quick shot from Darby Sorensen, and he bounces it wide.
There really is no stop button.
Nope.
There's no pause button, right? I mean, it's just literally, they just get the long stick to move the ball down, and then they just get a quick cutter and make that pass regardless. It's full throttle all the time.
Defense just hit a pause, and then Sorensen run right past him. He tries to take another shot again.
Great save by Kegley right there. He stepped to the ball well on that guy coming from around the back of the net. Made a nice save. Now the ball's down.
Egan had a chance to pick it up cleanly. Instead, it's ripped away by Zach Sigilski.
Oh, pick that up.
Nobody can control. Eventually, it's Joe Mills.
Yeah, you know, we really want our defenseman to pick up the ball on the defensive end.
Mills running right in, takes the shot. Again, another save from Kegley.
Yeah,
he's able to settle it down.
Yep, Weiner just chose to bat the ball, and so that's what the result was. It was a nice shot by Egan because he didn't scoop through on his defensive end. Luckily, you know, Kegley's playing well. The ball's down here, and Mahtomedi's feeling okay.
So Kegley has made 2 good saves. Connor Stoker takes it in behind the goal line for the Zephyrs. Comes back out in front for Pilla. Now it's stopped and saved out in front by Corrington.
Yeah, what I'm noticing from Egan's defense is they're early to slide. So what's that happening is they're sending that short stick slide from the crease, which is opening the pass on the backside, and Mahtomedi moved it up top.
Ethan Ham had the possession there. Turnover, and now the Zephyrs are going to call a timeout to get things settled, as it was a little unsettled running up the field.
Yeah, and I don't blame Coach Moosberger for doing that either. I mean, that's a situation where, hey, we've got a 3-2 lead. There's 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in this quarter. You know, we've now got the possession back finally. Maybe we need to get the look that we want, and or you know what he's doing is he's calling a timeout for 2 minutes of rest for his top guys. He can put his top guys back out there and let them work the ball instead of having to maybe go to a next line or a next line. So that's kind of a smart timeout at this point.
Coverage of the Boys State High School Lacrosse Tournament brought to you by True Lacrosse Minnesota. True Lacrosse Minnesota, a year-round training center. Services include travel teams, camps, clinics, and high-level training. Get more information at mntruelacrosse.com. That's mntruelacrosse.com. Thanks again for the special consideration from the Minnesota State High School League, bringing you these live and eventually on-demand broadcasts of State High School League tournament games. Have things covered like a blanket here on PrepSpotlight.tv. Also through the courtesy of our broadcast partner, 45 TV. Our fine sponsors and partners, including the Urgency Room. Looking for fast care for your injured sports star? Visit the Urgency Room in Eagan, Vadnais Heights, and Woodbury. Open 365 days a year. The ER doctors at the UR are always prepared. From breaks and sprains to concussions and chest pain, they've got you covered. Get to the Urgency Room and get back in the game fast. Back to the game, as the Wildcats and Zephyrs are tied at 2 with 2:50 to go here in the first quarter. And the Zephyrs with possession. They'll take it right from there at midfield.
Yeah, and definitely that's the case. So Coach Mooseberger puts his ones out there. So he's got his top middies out there with his, quick ball movement, off-ball exchanges. There it is right there, back door.
Didn't like the shot. Instead, sent it up top. Shot from Pilla, and that's saved by Currington. Goes up high for him.
So now Currington's got a save under his belt. So now both goaltenders have warmed up. They're in the game. Now we can see some back and forth, maybe with some saves included instead of just goals all the time.
Defense came over collapsing, and the whistle's going to go against Egan. Kyle Gibson lost it.
Yeah, that's warding. So he took his offhand off, and he tried to get an advantage with his free hand onto the offensive side. It's called a ward, and that gives the ball back to Mahtomedi.
Got called for the warding, and he lost the ball before the whistle came anyway.
Yeah, we've hit the 2-minute mark, so there's 2:02 left to go.
Joey Rohrer in off the bench, playing catch with Pilla. Get a big sprint with 1:50 to go. Dumps it in over the crossbar to the back of the net. Up in front, shot and a score from Lindquist.
I tell you, that's a shot you work on a ton in practice. So if you're a highly skilled, precision shooting attackman, you want to be able to come around goal line extended, get your hands up and away. He had his hands up across his body, he followed through, hit the top of the net, and just simply beat Jack Currington right there, top shelf. And you work on that a lot as an attackman, and he's feeling good about that shot and goal.
So from a 1-goal lead to a 2-goal lead with 1:44 to go. Lindquist scores the 3rd straight goal from the Zephyrs. So you give up 3 straight to Mahtomedi, and then you have to deal with Lucas Hohenbrink on the faceoff. Spits it back, and Rohrer scoops it up.
Yeah, if Mahtomedi can continue to do that, this day is going to be long for the Egan Wildcats because you've got, sniper shooters executing great shots on the Mahtomedi offense, and then you've got Lucas Hohenbrink winning faceoffs, and that's going to create a tough day for Egan.
Rohrer ducks in behind the goal line. Watched there by Darby Sorensen. Moves it down. Lindquist. Spins, nifty move, tries to bounce it free, and it just goes wide to the far post.
Oh, God. Talking about working about things in practice, we call that an inside roll.
Okay.
So you come hard to your strong hand, you turn your hips, drop step, and you've got the net right in front of you. And he executed that to perfection. Fantastic inside roll by Lindquist right there.
And the point being, he almost gave himself enough time to basically have a little picnic lunch right there, maybe a little too much time. Thought about the shot and just pushed it wide. They still lead it by 2.
Yeah, we got 52 seconds left in the quarter, and Egan's going to, they obviously want to get a goal here to get some momentum back there. That quick strike offense, maybe they can do that here.
There's Brandon Wirtz. Touch for him after an early goal. Trying to angle through, takes the shot, and just nipped the crossbar on the way by.
He had that upper corner. That upper corner was right in angle for us, and we could see that was open. He just missed it.
37 seconds to go. Mills from back behind the goal line. Runs around a pick, up above the goal line, back out in front. Sorensen off to Mills again. Looking for Wirtz on his left, instead spins it back out, 20 seconds to go. Mills towards the goal line. Pfeiffer plants his foot. We go under 10 seconds. Back out in front, knocked away. Defensive work to slow them down, but still with the Wildcats. They need to shoot, and they need to shoot now as they're running out of time, and they are out of time. So it was that last defensive bat down out there by Mahtomedi. I believe it was Zach Sigilski who knocked it down, and that stopped any hope of a late shot attempt from the Wildcats. So it'll be a 2-goal lead from the Zephyrs as we take a quick pause between quarters. Headed to the second here in semifinal number 2 of the Boys Lacrosse State Tournament on Prep 45. On Minnesota Prep Spotlight.
Did you know teenage girls are not immune from addiction? 2/3 think drugs can help them deal with their problems. Know the signs and symptoms. Trust the experts at the Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation. Find resources at hazeldenbettyford.org/families.
Prep Spotlight wants to help student athletes in their quest to take their games to the collegiate level. Contact the email below editor at schoolspacemedia.com. If you are interested in a recruiting video you can send along to college coaches. Doesn't matter the sport, we can assist in putting together a high-quality piece that can help set you apart. Again, that email address is editor at schoolspacemedia.com.
Back to Minnetonka High School, where the Mahtomedi Zephyrs have a 4-2 lead going to the second quarter. Don't forget, every Sunday, it's Minnesota Prep Spotlight, the TV show, Sundays at 9:30 on 45 TV. Presented by Mayo Clinic Sports Medicine. Tori Holt and Chrissy Wendell bringing all the highlights, as well as all the feature stories on athletes, coaches, and others shaping the Minnesota Prep sports world. It's filmed on location at a different school each week. Minnesota Prep Spotlight, the most comprehensive sports show in the state. Tune in Sundays at 9:30 on 45, or catch every episode online at prepspotlight.tv. This broadcast brought to you in partnership with True Lacrosse Minnesota. True Lacrosse Minnesota uses a peer approach, passion, energy, expertise, and repetition. Find out more at mn.truelacrosse.com. J.W. Cox alongside Scott Cater, head coach of the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars, bringing the expert analysis to this state tournament. 4-2, coach, and out of the first quarter, the Zephyrs obviously up on the scoreboard, but you get that feeling that the Wildcats, they're right there lurking because of their quick strike offense.
Yeah, right. So they're never down and out when they can move the ball the way they do. I mean, their passing in the first quarter was fantastic. And so pass, shot, pass, dodge. And they like to initiate. There's no stop button like I mentioned earlier. They're not going to slow down. They're going to push it. And one of the things I noticed here during the quarter break is that Joey Hoffman, the faceoff guy for Egan, is over on the sideline just working his faceoff drills. He's clamping. He's moving his hands. He's doing all that. He really wants to battle at the faceoff X, and here's an opportunity for him.
And he can certainly turn the tide. And it won't this time.
Yeah, he went early.
Yep. That's easy to understand, trying to go a little early against Hohenbrink. Don't want to discount, though, also what the Zephyrs did offensively. You talked about multiple guys initiating that offense, and that's going to bring about a lot of different opportunities.
Yeah, that's really what's impressed me in this tournament for Mahtomedi is it's not one or two guys. And if you don't have to count on one or two guys, you become a balanced team throughout the season, and that season-long experience is what got them here.
Wildcats force the turnover, bring it back the other way, find Words as they'll attack right to left here in quarter number 2. Trailing it by 2, 40 seconds gone in the second quarter. Winner gets Benilde St. Margaret's on Saturday. The Wildcats settling it down, go back to Mills in behind the net. Pass right back out in front. Beautiful pass and a good finish from Pfeiffer. His 4th goal of the tournament.
Yeah, that's a classic where the defenseman from Mahtomedi turned and watched it where the ball was, and as soon as he did that, then we had a back cut. And so he cut behind him, the pass came across, and that's that stick-to-stick passing that Egan is just thriving on all season. So one pass to another player, boom, back door, and the goalie can barely turn around, and the ball's in the back of the net.
Wildcats as they cut it to 1. They cut it to 1. They came through Section 3 as the 1 seed, beating Hastings and St. Thomas Academy handily, scoring 39 combined goals in those two. And then they put up 19 at East Ridge High School against Parker Cottage Grove to take the section title. Mills picks up the assist. Mahtomedi working hard and winning possession off the faceoff for Joey Rohrer.
Yeah, look at Hohenbrink.
Hohenbrink diving in for the net, takes the shot that bounded wide to the right-hand side of Corrington.
Yeah, he's Hohenbrink is just such a strong kid, and he's going to shoot right there. It doesn't really have a consequence because he misses the net. His team backs it up. They've still got possession, and now Lindquist can start to initiate for them.
Lindquist, who had 1 of the 4 goals in the first quarter. Egan Wildcat ended up down on the deck, and that's going to draw the whistle. Wildcats come back. The lone goal in the quarter so far, now with possession. Mills shakes off 2 defenders near midfield. Passes backwards. Found Sorensen, who lost it. Now he's in trouble in traffic. Words plucks it out of the air, had it for a moment, then he lost it, ends up down on the deck. No whistle. Now there is a whistle coming. Man on the far side put his arms out, wasn't going to make the call, but we've got 4 officials here.
Absolutely saw that too. One ref put his hands down, the other one put his hands up, so they're going to make that call.
Words trying to dodge inside. lost it. Now the Zephyrs trying to clear it out.
Well, what a great effort to chase that by Cole Powell to get back on defense to try to mix up this clear. And so Mahtomedi was able to get the ball back and bring it down. So now the flag is down. They must have called a hold on that.
Yeah, penalty upcoming. Goal upcoming as in goes Lindquist. And he knocks it home. So they'll get the goal with the flag down, and Lindquist has his second.
My guess is it was a hold call that he had, and so they're going to wave it off, unless there was a slash there that I didn't see. So it should be a goal that counts, and then no penalty or no advantage. The refs are talking about it right now to figure out what they're calling.
It did look like.
Okay, so he had two penalties on the play. You had a slash and you had an offsides. So the offside is a technical that gets waved off with the goal scoring, and then the slash does count, and he will be a time-serving 1-minute penalty. So on this face-off, you're going to see just 2 white players and 3 blue because you've got the other white player in the box, and you can no longer bring a guy up to cover the wing like you used to be able to do in the olden days. So it's 3 against 2. Holmbrink has an advantage right now. If he can pick up this ground ball, they can go run their man-up offense.
It's Mills who was guilty of the slash that will be served after the goal. And the win for the Zephyrs, leading it by 2. Campbell left it down on the deck and scooped back up opportunistically by Holmbrink.
Yeah, Joey Hoffman made a sneaky good play right there to check it out of his stick. But Mahtomedi does get it back, and now they get a chance to run their man up.
Cole Powell down towards the right post on the shot from Ben Viciello. And Viciello, just missed wide. Deep clear into traffic.
Yeah, I
Ball's
don't
loose.
really like that by Currington. Yeah, I understand you're man down and you feel pressured as a goaltender, but just by throwing it down the field really doesn't accomplish anything. We've got 8:45 left here before halftime, and you don't just want to throw the ball away. You want to try to get it to your short stick midi defenseman who plays man down for you.
Campbell.
Which in this case is Hoffman, so you want to try to work it to him so you can get that clear. And then right now, Mahtomedi gets a chance to take another shot. So they're going to be shooting like crazy now on this man up.
Shot from the waist of Campbell, and it still kept rising and rising. It went over the top of the cage.
Okay, the penalties are released. Now we're back to 6-on-6. And so now we're going to be looking for one of those initiators we were talking about in the first quarter from Mahtomedi for them to set up and run their offense.
Each team with a goal here in the second. 5-3 the lead for Mahtomedi. Turn, shot, and a save from Currington. Ball still loose just at the front of the crease. Currington, though, enough room to pick it up.
Yeah, Putney had a nice move on that, and he got inside and he took the shot. Now here comes a long pull for Egan.
Got it inside, took the pass, not the shot, and it's knocked home for the Wildcats by Aaron Propson.
Yeah, Propson finished. So the long pull brings it down, which is a momentum builder, and then Propson buries in the back of the net. He faked a little high there, shot low corner, just beat Kegley on that. So now we've got a 5-4 game with 8:03 before halftime.
All 3 goals in this quarter coming over the last 3 minutes. And we're back within 1. Zephyrs scored first. 2 unanswered in the first quarter from the Wildcats to take their lone lead of the game so far. 3 straight to close the quarter from Mahtomedi. Now we've traded goals with the last coming for the Wildcats here in the second. Zephyrs again, possession quick, low bounding shot, and a sprint back just in time for Connor Stoker to maintain possession for the Zephyrs.
For Aaron Propson, the assist Ben Viciello, 8:03 remaining second quarter.
Zephyrs nursing that 1-goal lead. Pilla around one defender. Currington made the save. Pilla picks it right back up and backhands it home.
Yeah, that's really too bad. I mean, Currington steps to the ball, he makes a save, and the rebound bounces right back to Pilla's stick. He picks it up, and then Pilla's challenge, because he's picking it up with his right hand on the right side, he has to kind of backhand that in, is essentially what is an empty net. So that's kind of a barn burner for Egan when a guy makes a save, gives up the rebound, and then the goal goes in anyways.
A lead back up to 2. Pilla also trying to work from right to left to get the shot and then stay out of the crease too, which he'd come in with momentum. Did a nice job with his feet.
Yeah, he did. He had some nice footwork there to stay out of the crease. Otherwise, that wouldn't have counted.
So back to a 2-goal lead for the Zephyrs as they've scored 6 now. So we're still shy of a quarter and a half played. Push. And we're going to bring it to the Wildcats. Last year, the Zephyrs coming up short of the state tournament as they were upset by White Bear Lake in their section play. White Bear Lake was the 3 seed in that tournament. Mahtomedi, the 2 seed. Never got a shot at the section title game. Would have been 3 straight state tournaments. But back here this year.
Yeah, and that experience pays off. So you come back to back, right? Isn't that right? So
Back to back 2 years ago.
Yeah,
So they took
okay.
last year off, but they went back to back in 14-15.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
Where
You
the
know-
shot goes high.
Yeah, and so now what you're seeing from the Egan offense is more of the same. They're looking to try to make the pass and then get the dodge initiated and then look to the backside on that skip pass. And so here comes a dodge that's starting on this side. They're looking to, there it is again, right? They're looking to try to see if the defense will turn their head and step down, and they'll look to try to feed it on the other side.
Pass sails over everybody. Might have been helped that way by a defensive stick. Brought right back in. Quick shot from Andrew Shivadl. It is Egan's second straight trip. So they have gone in back-to-back and gathering all that experience. They went to the consolation tournament and won that consolation tournament last year.
Yeah, and that's a lot of extra practices and a lot of extra game time for all these guys to play together.
Pass to a cutter in front. Prompson never really got a proper shot forward. Trickles back in behind the crease.
Yeah, that's that same move that he got his hands free before to be able to feed Wirtz in the first quarter. And so, he's just a quick-handed, Pete Pfeiffer is a quick-handed, attackman, and he knows what he's doing back there.
Kyle Gibson took the shot. Sailed wide, possession on this near side. Pfeiffer with it, back out to Wirtz, who sprints around his defender. Knocked away, though, from behind. The good recovery from Ethan Hand. Couldn't maintain possession. Again, it's Gibson in behind the net with 5.5 to go here in the first half. Errant pass, that's going to trickle all the way out. It did, so either way, it was going to be Mahtomedi ball.
Yeah, he's going to make him reset. The Egan, that's kind of a crazy play. It's because it's bang, bang fast, and so the Egan player had fallen down, and the ref is going to make him set that his feet again before he restarts that play.
Zephyrs were hoping to get a quick run there and try and take advantage. Now they can set the offense. Leading it by 2. Zephyrs coach is talking to 2 of the officials, taking their eyes away from some of the play, but they've got to make their cases. It's in front. Currington able to steer that one away as it went wide to the far side post.
Yeah, and that's Pilla again initiating on offense. He's trying to start something, and now Lindquist is from behind.
One spin, dumps it back out in front. Pilla, couple of shakes of the hip, tries to split 2 defenders, had it knocked away at the last moment, taken by Sorensen. Sorensen playing well on both ends of the field here. Now the Wildcats and Coach Felter are going to take a timeout. And you could tell that one was one he needed to take at that point to preserve that possession.
Yeah, he was really going to get swarmed there by the Mahtomedi offensive players, and so that's just, you had a couple timeouts, you might as well use one, right? Now you can get your best guys back out there again. It gives them a little bit of break. It's getting hot. It's late in the day, plenty of sunshine, and the turf is really hot down there. We've got 4:42 left before halftime. You're down by 2 goals. This is where things start to really count and really matter. If you can get another good shot or even a goal here, obviously that's what you're looking for. That can really help heading into halftime.
Comcast, a proud sponsor of Minnesota Prep Spotlight and PrepSpotlight.tv, bringing you our high school coverage throughout the fall, winter, and spring here on demand. And they can bring you the best cable TV and internet packages with the Xfinity Double Play. And if you're a sports fan, you get even more for your buck with the Xfinity Double Play and all the access to the live sports plus scores on demand coming right into your living room at the touch of a button. Really the true way to become a pro sports fan. Not a fan of pro sports, but a pro at being a sports fan. It's Comcast from Xfinity as It's the Xfinity double play. Get it now. So here we sit, moving towards the latter half of quarter number 2. By the way, you can follow along with us on Twitter at MN Prep Spotlight. That's at MN Prep Spotlight on Twitter. All the latest news, the videos we have rolling throughout our various seasons as this game sits with a 2-goal lead for Mahtomedi. Something we talked a little bit about, Coach, the makeup of this Final Four that we have. Now, of course, Wayzata has lost, but 4 different conferences represented, 3 teams that have never won a championship. Benilde St. Margaret's hasn't been back since 2011. It says something about the parity and the level of play all across the state here.
Yeah, as a Minnesota lacrosse fan in general, I just really love to see that. It makes it a lot more fun when you have new teams winning new championships instead of the same old every year. We just don't have that in Minnesota. We have a lot of teams with strong youth organizations and strong parent booster clubs that really support these kids. They push them in the off season, they push them during the season, and they really support them. And so that's what you're seeing all across the metro area. And, it's growing statewide. We continue to have more teams in our state tournament or, in our league in general.
Yep.
And so the growth across the state also is helping some of that happen. 22 still got the ball.
Both of these teams looking for their first state tournament. The pass finally goes out in front for Cole Powell. He takes a shot that was wide.
Yeah, Pfeiffer made a good play there to ward off the other, chasing defenseman so that he got the ball back for Egan.
Coming up towards the 4:15 mark. Out of Wirtz's hands. Mills, nobody within 5 yards of him, waits and finally starts it off to the left side, gets it back, plays catch with Powell. Skips a step down towards the goal line. Powell gets it off. That's Sorensen who replaced him. Now Wirtz dodging inside, goes below the waist for the right-handed shot, knocks it home.
Yeah, that was a really good pop off the crease by Sorensen. Sorensen comes off the crease, catches the pass, moves it to his buddy Wirtz, and Wirtz does the rest. And so Wirtz makes a hard move towards his left hand, and then it brings it back to his right. And then when he's standing, 7 yards away from a goalie, he's going to score probably 90-95% of the time, and he did just that.
So with 3:48 remaining here in the second, it is now the 3rd time in this quarter that the Wildcats have cut it down to a 1-goal deficit. That's as close as they've gotten.
And that's really the first goal of this game, too, that Egan doesn't have an assist on, because that was a dodge that beat a defenseman, and Wirtz kind of did that himself. But on every other goal that Egan has scored, it's been off of a pass. And so they're such a quick passing team, and I'm just watching them throw skip passes at will. They're breaking the rules of, of what most coaches would want our players to do, is move your feet and then make that pass. And Egan doesn't worry about that. They just make that next pass and, boom, take that next shot. And every one of their goals except for that one has been assisted. And that's impressive stuff.
Even that one, as you mentioned, Sorensen created a little of that space for Wirtz to make his move, even though he's not going to get credited with the assist. Now the Zephyrs back to try and find an answer. There was a quick shot from Honebrink that went wide. Now a dive in for Campbell.
Yeah, and Currington stepped nice to the ball. I don't know if he made contact with it. It's really hard to tell. I'm staring into the sun right now. But I really like his feet and his hands. His feet, when a goalie's feet and hands move together, good things happen for a goaltender.
Lindquist pops it back out in front. Pilla wanted to wind and fire. Instead finds Campbell, who absorbs some contact, fires it wide. Turns into a pass basically to Lindquist. Little nifty move right in front to Basilio.
Yeah, Campbell is all over the field. I've really been impressed with him in this tournament. He's a kid who plays. He lines up at the midfield. He wins, face-off ground balls. Then he goes down and plays attack for them. Campbell's really an impressive player, and he's everywhere.
Got it right now, and that time definitely some contact for Currington, because if he hadn't made contact, that would have ducked in under the crossbar, and a nice shot from Campbell. Saved there that time. 2:40 to go in the half. Egan, quick strike, taking a quick shot. Did it stay in the crease down there? Looks to be covered up, and Kegley does have it.
Yeah, Powell hit Propson in the back. Otherwise, that one might have been in the back of that too. So they're not afraid to shoot.
So Zephyrs don't have the numbers in the quick attack. Settle it down, plenty of time.
Yeah, we're approaching that 2-minute mark here right before the half, and so you want to see how Mahtomedi treats that time.
Lindquist. Fender stepped over, force it back out towards the top. Mills to Pilla. Outside, deep shot. That one saved right into the net of Currington.
Yeah, Putney's excited. He had his hands free, but he's way too far outside for that. Currington's going to like those saves. He's going to make those all day long.
Mills just sprints past the defender. Left him in his wake, couldn't turn the corner.
Yeah, we're at 1:30 now before halftime.
Long pass, tracked down by Wirtz. Changing the field, steps back, now sprints in. Still Wirtz takes the shot, deflected away on the low attempt. Kegley got a piece of it. Now the Zephyrs come back the other way as they picked up the loose ball.
Oh, I love that pass. That's a fantastic pass. You draw two guys in the ride and then you move the ball, and that was really well done. And now you sub off. You did your job. Great job on the D-midi work. That's stuff that you don't usually track or see, but Sam Dunna played that really, really well.
His outlet was Ethan Weiner, and they're now both off as they work to get this possession for the Zephyrs. 50 seconds to go. Mahtomedi has maintained their lead. Right now it's at 1 goal. They've had a couple of 2-goal leads in this quarter. Pass back out in front. That one short hops in front of Currington. Made the save, now scoops it up as he's sprinting out of the crease.
Yeah, that was a fantastic save. Stoker had time and room to take that shot. Currington stepped right to the ball, and he made the save. And so now what you have is they have Egan calling a timeout. They want it because they had one more to use, and you might as well do it. You've got 24.5 seconds before halftime, and this is stuff you rep at practice all season long. But hey, guys, we're going to put at our practice at Jefferson, we put time on the clock. We let the kids see the scoreboard clock, and we run different kind of plays. We run timeout plays, we run situational things, and so fully expect Felter to have a few options that he's telling his kids about right now. Hey, remember when we did this in practice? Let's go do it in a state semifinal game. Let's earn a ticket. Let's tie this thing up and try to get to Saturday.
Got to make those game-like conditions. And if you do that enough, it becomes second nature when you get to this stage, because you certainly can't think about it when you're here at this point. J.W. Cox alongside Scott Cater, head coach of the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars. You were saying before the game, obviously your team, came up short of coming to the state tournament. You were happy with kind of the strides they made. You can brag on your guys a little bit since you're here.
I mean, you get to play a 13-game season, and the team that you have by the 13th game is different from the first game, and that's what I was really impressed with our kids. We had a all-state midfielder in West Wolf and a few other seniors that really contributed and drove our team. And what that did is that allowed us to play like a Benilde team. We took them to overtime, so that was a 6-5 loss to us, in May, and so that's the kind of team that we had. We have a strong defense-driven team. We had kids working hard, and we played a lot of close games against a lot of the better teams in the state. And so that's one of the things as a coach, each day can be different, and you're coaching high school athletes. You never know exactly what you're going to get, but boy, it was sure fun to coach that group this year. Those seniors are going to be missed.
Before the action get going, do you feel like there's a time coming when the season will expand and go deeper? Because, if you had a few more games, just imagine even more of the strides you'd make at the back end of the season. There's a quick shot, and Egan won't even let us finish.
Yeah, right. So Wirtz, they just make 2 passes, and Wirtz just steps into the lane, and he says, you know what, I'm going to shoot this right now. And so Brandon Wirtz finds the back of the net. That gives him the hat trick. He's now got 3 goals, and Egan did exactly what they wanted out of their timeout, and that was to get a shot and to tie this thing up before halftime.
Well, you talk about executing whatever the game plan becomes, and they get their first tie in this game after clawing back to a 1-goal game 3 straight times.
Just to get back to your comment about the season, the thing I'd love to have us do is have a week or two, I would call them like 0 weeks, where we could have practice without counting towards the game formula that the State High School League uses. Give us a chance to condition our athletes, get them to, shake the rust off and play a lot of catch and really get good hands so that they're ready for a season and to grind it out for those 13 games, because it really essentially becomes just this super fast sprint of a season.
Egan trying to take their first lead since early in the first quarter. In the final 10 seconds, and they'll do just that. Spinning in front of the crease, Joseph Diffley, 28.
Yep, it sure is. And that's a kid with size and the mentality to go to the hoop. And so he just used his size. He's bigger, taller than the rest of the players on the field at that point. He brings his hands up towards his shoulder and just simply shoots over the defenseman, over the goalie, and puts it in the back of the net. And so now Egan scored 2 goals since that 24.5-second mark when they called that timeout. So really impressed by that. That's kind of what the live and die of the way Egan has been all season. Just got 8.5 seconds, you could do it again. Or Lucas Holmbrink could do the same thing.
Right.
He did that in the opening game on Tuesday where he won a faceoff, went down and scored. So maybe we get one more goal here.
Credit Joseph Hoffman, by the way, for winning that possession. He was bumped. Holmbrink moves it back. It's just knocked away, so Hoffman's going to keep Mahtomedi from scoring. Long pass towards Wirtz is intercepted down in the crease by Kegley. But even Wirtz was right there, and we might have had another Egan goal in the final minutes. So again, as now we do get to take a breath with these two teams, it flows a bit with what we expected. The offense is working quickly, and each team kind of counterpunching.
Yeah, what a crazy finish to that first half. Kind of slowed down there in the middle of that quarter. Things kind of, slowed down a little bit in transition and things like that. And then all of a sudden, goalies start making some saves, right? So Currington made a few saves, made a few outlet passes. Things started to trend the right way. We had a really great, advantageous timeout by Coach Felter, and what that allowed his team to do is just take a breath, and then essentially his studs or his main guys get a chance to breathe during that 2 minutes, and they go back out and they end up scoring 2 more goals before half, from 6-5 to 7-6, just like that in a flick of a switch.
2 times in the second quarter, Mahtomedi scored to build their lead back up to 2 at 5-3 and 6-4, but Wirtz for 2 and Diffley for 1 as the Wildcats score the final 3 goals of the half to take a 7-6 lead. We'll step away, come back, and discuss what we saw here at Minnetonka. One more half of semifinal action, regulation semifinal action. You never know with these two teams what might happen. It's the Wildcats leading at the half, 7-6 on PrepSpotlight.tv.
Did you know teenage girls are not immune from addiction? 2/3 think drugs can help them deal with their problems. Know the signs and symptoms. Trust the experts at the Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation. Find resources at hazeldenbettyford.org/families.
Visit Duluth. Authentic moments, authentic memories. More at visitduluth.com.
Your home for Minnesota high school sports is PrepSpotlight.tv. With dozens of free live stream games each week, catch all the action live or on demand. And if you miss an episode of Minnesota Prep Spotlight, you can see them all right here on PrepSpotlight.tv. Prep Spotlight wants to help student athletes in their quest to take their games to the collegiate level. Contact the email below, editor@schoolspacemedia.com. If you are interested in a recruiting video you can send along to college coaches. Doesn't matter the sport, we can assist in putting together a high-quality piece that can help set you apart. Again, that email address is editor@schoolspacemedia.com.
PrepSpotlight.tv's coverage of the Minnesota State High School Boys Lacrosse Tournament, brought to you in part by Comcast. Find the best cable TV internet packages with the Xfinity Double Play from Comcast. By Hazelden Betty Ford, treating addiction, transforming lives. By the Urgency Room, in fast, home soon. By Visit Duluth, plan your authentic Duluth getaway now. And by True Lacrosse Minnesota, experience the true difference with True Lacrosse Minnesota. Elevate your lacrosse game with True Lacrosse Minnesota. Surpass your potential. Experience the true difference. Learn more at mn.truelacrosse.com. At the half, the Mahtomedi Zephyrs, who had a 2-goal lead, find themselves down by a goal, 7-6. We'll take another pause and come back, and head coach Scott Cater will discuss more of that first half as things are winding down. A championship game hangs in the balance. Who will see the Manilde St. Margaret's Red Knights on Saturday at 6 o'clock at Chanhassen. The loser will get Wayzata in the third-place game at 1 p.m. on Saturday, and that'll be right back here. A full second half of action is on the way. We'll talk about half number 1 when we come back here on PrepSpotlight.tv. Minnesota Prep Spotlight, the TV show, comes your way every Sunday at 9:30 on 45 TV. It's presented by Mayo Clinic Sports Medicine. Tori Holt, Chrissy Wendell are your hosts, and they bring you all the highlights and more, the feature stories on the athletes, coaches, and others who are shaping the Minnesota prep sports world, filmed at a different high school each week. Minnesota Prep Spotlight is the most comprehensive sports show in the state. Tune in Sundays at 9:30 on 45 TV or catch every episode online at prepspotlight.tv. I should know this, Coach, but did Prep Spotlight ever film at Bloomington Jefferson?
Well, no, they have
No.
not, because we don't have the big stadium
Right,
up there
that's
yet.
true.
So on campus, for football games, you probably could, because that's the grass, old Lincoln Stadium,
Yep.
but not at Jefferson campus. So.
All right, well, we'll see if they get out there, too. They can go out there during one of your practices and see how you're working things and shoot the show with you guys in the background.
Yep, Tori and Chrissy did that earlier in the year, so it's kind of fun to have those guys out for sure. We enjoy the show, and it's good for kids. And, I, as a coach, just like to tune in just to watch, whether it's lacrosse or other sports, and just watch high school athletes perform at a high level. That's fun to do.
He's the head coach of the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars, joining us for these broadcasts throughout the state high school tournament. He'll be on the mic for championship Saturday as well to see one of these two teams, either the Wildcats or the Zephyrs, play Benilde St. Margaret's. And anything different than you expected jump out from either one of these teams in that first half? I mean, we knew they'd be scoring teams. Anything else kind of pop out the way that half developed?
That's a really, really good question, because it really kind of played to script, in my opinion. It was the system-based, smart decision-making offense, ball control, athletic team of Mahtomedi, and then the run-and-gun, fast, athletic, we're going to shoot and we're going to put the ball in the back of the net, Egan Wildcat. So right now, with the score being 7-6, and we've got a couple minutes left here before the break, it really is following the script that you would come to the stadium and kind of expect to see at this point.
As far as the matchup potentially on Saturday, nothing would change there either from what we talked about at the end of that first game, as we can kind of still also go back a game and unpack what the Red Knights were able to do. They're going to have their hands full and really test maybe one of their best tests of the season of that defense that they've played so well.
Yeah, I've really been impressed, and that's the thing. I keep continuing to grow to respect Benilde's defense as I watch them play more and more. And, one of these two teams that advances is going to have to find a way to get inside and to beat that defense. And so nobody in this tournament's been able to do that yet. And so the Red Knights are going to come into this game with momentum. But I feel like no matter what the matchup is, whether it's Mahtomedi or Egan, it's going to be a great game. Because what we've been talking about with these, three teams essentially that are now left in the tournament is complete team, complete team, complete team. What I'm talking about is good goaltending, face-off wins, right? Clearing the ball, riding to get the ball back, having a really good man-down unit. I mean, you've got to give credit to Egan's man-down unit. They've stopped the Mahtomedi on that, and I tell you, that's the kind of stuff that tips a game in your favor. And so all three teams that are still playing in this tournament are complete from top to bottom, and that's what's impressed me the most. And the two that get there are going to deserve to be there. Whether or not it would have been the ones that me and my coaching pals would have talked about before the season and named the two teams that we thought were going to get there, that doesn't matter. What matters is you've got three complete teams still playing in this tournament, and two of them get to play on Saturday.
One more thing from that first half is we talked about it. The last three goals really set up by execution directly coming from the sideline. Egan able to execute exactly what their coaches wanted to do. How key is that, and what is the biggest driver of that? How do you find success translating what it was that you guys said as the coaches out onto the field?
Well, that's where athletes become athletes, right? So players step on the field, they've got the helmets on, and we as coaches just hope, that we've prepared them enough to make that decision that we want them to make. We can't do it. Our days are done. That's why we're on the sideline. And so you work really hard to teach kids and have them, run the systems and make the decisions that you're comfortable with. And clearly Coach Felter has a group of kids that are doing that for him right now. I mean, they're very junior and senior heavy, much more so than Mahtomedi, and you're seeing them play that way out here just before halftime. Now, can they continue to do that in the second half? I feel like that's going to be the difference. If Egan continues to play at that pace and Mahtomedi lets him do it.
So we will see what the second half has in store. They're just about to have a opening face-off of half number 2, so we'll step away quickly and bring you back to the action after this, as it's Egan with a 1-goal lead over Mahtomedi here in the second semifinal of the boys state lacrosse tournament on PrepSpotlight.tv.
Visit Duluth. Authentic moments, authentic memories. More at visitduluth.com.
Coverage of this state tournament game brought to you in the cooperation of our broadcast partner 45 TV and as a consideration of the Minnesota State High School League. J.W. Cox alongside Scott Cater, Kit Callis on the camera. Andy Price is our executive producer of PrepSpotlight.tv. Charlie Beatty, our broadcast coordinator. Zach Schuster running the technical side of things back in our St. Paul headquarters.
Yeah, so I kind of lost count a little bit in the first half, but I had Honerbrink as a 2-to-1 ratio here in the faceoffs and see if he can continue to do that. Okay, so he won another one for Mahtomedi. And you could get a fast break. Oof.
This is the type of game where you would lose count of those faceoffs with, again, the 13 combined goals in the first half. Undoubtedly not quite done. But even 2-to-1 is a little bit of a win for Egan, getting some of those victories on faceoffs.
Yeah, it sure wasn't
just
that win
considering,
on Tuesday.
right?
Yeah,
considering
absolutely.
how bad it could be.
Oh, nice move.
Pilla inside, takes the shot. He'll finish the nice move with a goal.
I mean, we call that a simple split dodge in the game of lacrosse. You dodge hard with one hand, switch to the other hand, and pull the trigger. And so he went with his right, and then he brought it back to his left, and he just beat Currington between the wickets there. He scored that 5-hole goal, and now it's all tied up. 11:26 in the third. It only took them, 34 seconds to score and tie it up. So they're coming out fired up after halftime. Absolutely.
And Pilla scores his third, so he joins Wirtz with the hat trick here in the semifinals. 2 goals on the night for Campbell and Lindquist as well. Honebrink plays this one back, but yet another win. Backs up his long stickman on the far side. He'll also take the shot, and that one's safe.
Yeah, one of the things I'm noticing, too, that Mahtomedi is doing on the faceoffs is they're automatically sending a kid to the offensive side of the field. So they're basically hedging their bets that Honerbrink is going to win that faceoff. They already have a kid cheating towards the offensive half of the field. And so that's a game within the game play by Mahtomedi. I like it. It allowed them to get that shot. What I don't like, though, is that the long pole just took that shot.
Mills somehow underhanded that pass out in front to Propson, who just was stopped on the doorstep.
Yeah, Kegley made a nice save right there, and now he's setting up their clear. That was kind of an unorthodox pass, but boy, he got the shot off too.
It was almost like it was falling out of his cross, and he just directed it forward. Campbell trying to shed off contact from 2 defenders. Eventually did lose it. Maxwell Remker scooped it up for Egan.
Yeah, that's just too bad. Campbell was trying to do too much in that. You got to settle down a little bit and enjoy the ball when you're playing against a team like Egan.
Cutter in front. Pfeiffer didn't really have control of that as he let it go, so it sailed way high right out of his cross.
Yeah, we got a tie ball game, and we got kids shooting on both ends, and things getting a little bit crazy. There's 10 minutes here left in the third quarter. There's plenty of time for you to run an offense and get a good look.
Trying to reel in some wild horses here on both sides for these 2 head coaches. Team's seeing a lot of goals go into the net in the first half. Mahtomedi's got the lone goal in this half. Lindquist. Working on the near side. Pilla creates some space for him with the pick. Fire it out front. Putney dumped it off. A run from Moriarty.
Yeah, it's the first time I think we've said his name today, so it's the first time he's kind of initiated something on offense for Owen Moriarty there. Hoping to get another pass into a dodge, and so see if they can keep it on their side of the field.
It's Pilla who's over there to pick it up. Shrugs off some contact, spinning his way back in towards the net. Walled off initially, so he's forced to put it back. Putney. Back to Pilla. Shakes and moves it back to Putney. Moriarty fires it along the goal line. And then back in deep. Stoker in a lot of contact there with 8:44 to go.
Yeah, they call it a crease. There's a bit of a push there. I mean, it's kind of a coin flip at that point.
Right.
As a coach on the sideline, you don't know what they're going to call on that. There's a push. He gets into the crease, but he got into the crease on his own. So it's going the other way. Egan picks up the ball.
You got to figure it's tough on these coaches to really see where exactly that crease was and where everything was happening there, even downfield level with the way they're looking. So the officials make the call. It goes back to Egan. Pfeiffer leaning that shoulder in initially, then does duck under the cage, splits two defenders, dropped it on the deck, and never could recover. It was picked up instead by Sigilski. Pfeiffer ended up with his lid on the deck.
Yeah, he's a fast kid, and he draws a lot of attention. And so you get 2 or 3 defensemen sliding over to take him, and then somebody must have, obviously had some contact that drove up because your helmet just doesn't fall off in the game of lacrosse. It's a 4-point chin strap. I mean, it's fully connected, and that's a pretty rare opportunity. I haven't seen that all season, to be honest with you. But the helmet came off. The ref stopped the play. It's a smart thing to do. It's a safety issue, and now Mahtomedi gets to run their clear.
So it's Kyle Gibson who takes it across midfield. Works it over to Lindquist. Wait for the substitutions. Fly it to the near side for Donna. Oof.
Yeah, Stoker's looking to initiate here.
Stoker goes 5-hole, and he beats Currington.
Wow, that's 2 goals that have gone that way right now for Mahtomedi in this half. And so they've been able to score low between the legs of Jack Currington, and they're feeling really good about that. Stoker came across, got the left-handed shot, took it, and made it count.
Now the Zephyrs back in front with 7:40 to go.
I just don't have a feel for, which either team has momentum because it's back and forth.
Yep.
There's mistakes happening on both ends. There's offense happening on both ends. There isn't really like that, what we saw in the Wyzetta game where they just completely took over the momentum late in the game when we clearly were riding that. This game is back and forth, and it's kind of even. It's pretty equal. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of energy on either bench. I'm watching the players. I'm watching the coaches. They're kind of, still in that nervous energy part of the game because we're, essentially tied up. It's 8-7 with 7.5 left to go in the third.
It was 3 quick goals in a row by Egan as they'll attack again, but it came so quickly at the end of the half. Didn't seem like an extended amount of momentum, and now you get back-to-back goals. But outside of that, the entire second quarter was goal and answer, goal and answer. And now here, Egan, the team left looking for an answer. Diffley walks along the goal line. He scored that last goal of the half. He thought he had it, tried to take the shot, had dropped it. It ends up back to Kegley.
Yeah, he's so big and strong that he just comes around, turns the corner, and he just slipped out the back of his stick. But otherwise, he would have scored that goal because he beats the guys to the inside with his, athleticism and size.
Comfort on the far side.
Yeah,
Couldn't connect.
Yep, so Diffley drops it down here, gives it to Mahtomedi. Mahtomedi comes down and throws it out of bounds. And so that's what I was talking about. There isn't like a strong momentum swing at this point where teams are just it's almost like they're feeling each other out again in the first quarter of a game.
Shavato split 2 defenders, then bumped by the second.
Yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't a push with possession. White had the ball in his stick, and usually if a player separates his hands like that and does that cross-check motion, Moriarty got away with one there.
So Egan maintains. Even play rolls on. Diffley sends it down to Pfeiffer and below the goal line.
So then Pfeiffer moves it to his teammate who has the matchup that they want. They got the short stick midfielder against a short stick behind.
It's Tate Sundberg trying to direct some traffic. Got a screen from Pfeiffer. He was picked up right as he crossed the goal line. Back to Pfeiffer it goes.
Typically when you run an offense like that, though, you want to have a guy moving through the middle. Right now all the Egan players are stationary on the perimeter, so it doesn't do any advantage anyway. So
Sigilski, whose name we've called a couple of times, took that away, cleared it to Kegley in the crease, and draws the flag.
Yep. So Pfeiffer just dropped him behind the play, and so when that happens, if you follow through and push him, you're going to get flagged. The refs were watching that, and now Mahtomedi has an opportunity to go man up. And I praise the Egan man down defense in the first quarter. Let's see if they're playing at that level now in the third. We'll see what Mahtomedi does here on this man up.
They're leading it by a goal. State semifinal hanging in the balance inside of 6 minutes to go in the third quarter.
So that's that cross-check penalty. So now it's a full minute. So we're at 5:59. So it doesn't release till 4:59. So you've got that full minute to do what you want to do here on offense.
Penalty number 2, Isaac Pfeiffer. Time of the penalty, third quarter, 5 minutes, 59 seconds remaining. 1 minute per
Mahtomedi occupying the middle, passing going around. Campbell slipped. Pops back up with no whistle. His pass goes wide. of Stoker. Has to go a long way to track it down.
Yep, they've still got 35 seconds left in the man up.
That pass was tipped, still plucked out.
That's again. So there's 2 tips right there. Eli Dolney making great plays on man down. I mean, this is the same stuff I saw in the first half. This Egan man down unit plays aggressive, just like their offense plays aggressive on the other end of the field.
So Lindquist picked up 1 tip, then off the ground ball, the loose ball push is called. That one's tipped again.
That's
Lindquist
impressive.
still finds it. Campbell tries to cross. That's not what you do against Egan, apparently, as it was knocked away and picked up by Gallus, who takes a tumble. No whistle. Ball still loose. Never made it to midfield. Now, finally, whistle does come in off that contact that put Gallus on the deck.
Yep, more of the same, and now the penalty's released. So now Egan's going to be all square here as far as the men go. And then Egan's defense, man down, is knocked down, 4 or 5 passes there easy. And that keeps Mahtomedi off the board. Gives them a chance to tie up this game here with 4:50 left.
Usually you can see those basically skipping a man passes go through cleanly, and Egan not letting it happen. Take a quick shot from Shavato.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that. Man up, it's all about ball movement because the ball moves faster than the feet, and so, but not for Egan. Egan's getting that stick in the passing lane. They're doing a great job of man down defense.
Egan turns it over though, overthrow, which is a trick to get it over the top of Joe Diffley.
Yeah, this is a big clear right here for Mahtomedi. You want to be able to clear the zone. You want to be able to set up on your offense, and that's what they should be able to do here.
Sprint from Rohrer. It's an inside that 30. He gets it right back. Trot out and try to spin down past Sorensen. Rohrer finds a man on the goal line. It's Lindquist. Turns, fires, kicked away by the left foot of Currington.
Yeah, that was a great save by Currington because that was the exact goal that they had, they had scored 2 like that, and now Currington's got his hands and feet working together, stepping to the ball, made the save. The rebound did bounce out front, and Mahtomedi picked it up, so that's advantageous for the Zephyrs.
They'll maintain possession as we go under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Zephyrs with a 1-goal lead. Stoker. Pass back in front. That was into traffic and knocked away.
Man, that double team comes early. So when they make an aggressive move, Stoker was moving from behind.
Cutter, shot and a score.
So we pick up a ground ball. We move the ball over 5 to 39. 39 hits the back of the net.
Sophomore Neil Dardis.
Yeah, Neil Dardis getting on the scoreboard. That was a big one. It was a great pass by Pilla to Dardis. Makes a big difference when role players can then hit the back of the net too, because now you stretch it to a 2-goal lead with 3:44 left in the third. And now I'm starting to sense there is some momentum on the Mahtomedi side, getting this 2-goal lead. This is a point in a game where can you get to 3 goals? Can you get that 3-goal lead? Because then Egan starts to, really try to push things on offense.
2 has been the max, and to your point on momentum, Currington makes a great save, and yet they still don't get possession, and that's a good sign that Mahtomedi still got things rolling their way.
Yeah, and then Honebrink picks up a face-off again, right? So we're right back down here, putting the Egan defense on call. So here we go.
Graslowitz doing a lot of work sprinting, finally left the defenders. We're under 3.5 to go in the third. Still a long way to go. Egan can certainly score. But I think we'd all agree right now that Mahtomedi has the momentum, and they've got the 2-goal lead.
Yeah, this was a lot like how the first half played out until Egan called that timeout with 24 seconds left in the half, and they got their 2 goals to tie it up, take the lead, whatever. But so now Mahtomedi is working their way back ahead. So up by 2, they can run their systems and do what they want.
Lindquist ducking up.
The goal scored by number 39, Neil Dardis, with the assist to number 5, Ryan.
Rohrer drops it down below the goal line.
Yeah, this is a similar play as they just scored on.
Stoker initiated that one too. He was in the crease but lost possession there, and it goes back to Egan.
Yeah, that was a great save by Currington out of the net to help his team to keep the ball.
Egan needs these possessions. Right through the middle they come. Pass up to the left side. Little bit of a dodge with the stick. A shot and a score. And it's yet again Joseph Diffley.
Yeah, that's right down Broadway. I mean, they made that pass down the middle. They got, Cropson down the middle of the field, and then he hits Diffley. And boy, when Diffley's 1-on-0 against a goalie like that, he's probably going to score. He's a big kid with using his size, and he just put it in the back of the net. Nice shot for him.
May have been Sorensen. We'll see who they give the assist to. But
Yeah.
Sorensen down the middle, number 3.
That seems right.
Yep.
It was Sorensen 3.
2:26 left in the third, and well, just like that, we start giving the momentum all to the Zephyrs, and you get a stop, you get the goalie coming out to again help your team, and then the quick right down the gut, and Diffley has his second of the game. Zephyrs, though, take another face-off.
No.
Elbow go up there.
Yeah, I guess that's what he saw. I mean, I hate that call in a state semifinal game when Honerbrink's just trying to use his size. He's bigger than people.
Right.
You know, he's a big, athletic, thick midfielder, and he was trying to use his size to bull-dodge a kid, and he guess the ref saw it, brought his elbow up or shoulder up towards the head, and so they're going to turn it over.
Like in basketball, a lot of times if the official didn't see some of that separation with the elbow going forward, he's going to make the call. But the Zephyrs get it right back. So they scored 3 straight to take a 9-7 lead. They've never led by more than 2 goals.
Yeah, we're at under 2 minutes, 1:45 here left in the third quarter. 1-goal lead for Mahtomedi.
Egan has never led by more than a single goal. Did that at 2-1, 7-6 at the half. Now trail it again by a goal at 9-8. Pilla, very good. He's got 3 goals today. Takes the shot. Corrington deflects it away. But again, Mahtomedi on it to get another chance with 1:24 to go.
Yeah, Dolney's going to feel that one tomorrow. I think it hit him right in the wrist or the hand. And that Pilla's just got that really quick burst first step, and that has allowed him to get his hands free, and he's taken a lot of shots today because of it.
Rohr dumps it back inside. Shot goes wide quickly from Graslowitz.
Yeah, Graslowitz was able to get the release. I was wondering if he was going to because he kind of hesitated there a little bit, but he was still able to get that shot off. We're now at 1:07 left.
Pilla, 14 goals in the regular year. He's now got 7 in the state tournament with his 3 today.
He still got it.
Rohr moving inside. Did he finish it off? Yes, he did.
Yep, so it was tough because the Egan defense, too, was wondering if he still had the ball, but he did. And so he kept it and brought it back to his right hand and shot a bounce shot and ended up scoring. So now we've got back to a 2-goal lead with 52 seconds left here. Can they stretch it to 3? Something they haven't been able to do. We'll have to see kind of here if Hohenbrink can win another face-off and get Mahtomedi continuing this push.
You mentioned 2-1, and we said Egan, well, they earned some face-off wins in that first half. The third quarter has felt much more lopsided as that goes, and the scoreboard shows that with 4 of the 5 goals scored by the Zephyrs.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great third quarter for Mahtomedi. They've enjoyed the ball. They've worked it. They haven't scored on man up, but they've done the right thing to get this 2-goal lead.
Sorensen, a lot of work that time to get possession. We're under 40 seconds. He's going to take it right in. That deflect high off the cross of Kegley, and then out to the right and out of bounds.
Yeah, it's really hard to see. You and I are both staring into the sun here.
Kegley's reaction, though.
Yeah, right. But to just have Sorensen running down the middle of the field and nobody on him. So that was a great shot, good save, and now Mahtomedi's got a chance with just 20 seconds left.
Pilla.
There's that jab
Wants
step.
to run. Finds his man cutting in across the goal line, and he was turned away. Good shot, though, from Lindquist.
Yeah, what a great save by Corrington right there.
Back to Pilla. Still has a second to go. Got the shot away. Just shy of the horn, and he missed it wide. So make it a 5-goal third quarter. 4 of them come for the Zephyrs. And again, if we're going to give momentum, credit Egan for scoring one late to kind of shore things up, but Mahtomedi got one right back, so they firmly had control of that third quarter.
Yeah, I tell you, if this is the way this game is going to play out, Mahtomedi is going to be celebrating here at the end of the day. I mean, they've really controlled this third quarter. They've won the face-offs. They've had the time of possession. If you think about it, Egan just had, one opportunity with Diffley coming around the net and just using his size. And so with that in mind, I've really, really been impressed with what Mahtomedi has done here in the third quarter.
See if that rolls on into the fourth. Take a pause, step away, and set ourselves for the final 12 minutes of regulation in non-state championship game lacrosse action in 2017. If you follow that Well, stick with us. We've got more lacrosse coming your way after this on PrepSpotlight.tv.
Prep Spotlight wants to help student athletes in their quest to take their games to the collegiate level. Contact the email below, editor@schoolspacemedia.com. If you are interested in a recruiting video you can send along to college coaches. Doesn't matter the sport, we can assist in putting together a high-quality piece that can help set you apart. Again, that email address is editor@schoolspacemedia.com. Your home for Minnesota high school sports is PrepSpotlight.tv. With dozens of free live stream games each week, catch all the action live or on demand. And if you miss an episode of Minnesota Prep Spotlight, you can see them all right here on PrepSpotlight.tv.
This presentation of PrepSpotlight.tv here in the State Boys Lacrosse Championship Tournament is brought to you in part by True Lacrosse Minnesota. Get social and stay connected with True Lacrosse MN. Follow them on Twitter @True Lacrosse MN. Find them on Facebook by searching True Minnesota. That's True, True, Minnesota. Thanks to all of our sponsorship partners, and a special thanks to the Minnesota State High School League for their consideration in bringing these broadcasts live and free here on PrepSpotlight.tv. And our broadcast partner, 45 TV, as we go into the fourth quarter. So happy to be a part of this coverage, bringing these games to you free of charge. And again, not to be on a soapbox, but glad that that's the way my employer, Prep Spotlight, does this. And it's fun that anybody can tune on and kind of help spread the joy of lacrosse here at the highest level.
Yeah, that's fantastic. To not have to pay for these streams and get these state high school championship games online is awesome.
Not always the norm. Maybe it will be someday as things roll
I was
on.
talking about. So Wonderbrink takes a face off. He doesn't even care because he's got his teammate busting down on the offensive side of the field, and Campbell steps across and just goes forward. He's not even tracking the ball. He knows that his teammate's going to win,
right,
and they're already pushing. That's instant offense.
Not even a gamble at that point. Just a heady strategy, and the Zephyrs, who lead it 10-8, never had a 3-goal lead. Trying to build it up. Pilla gives them the 3-goal lead with his 4th goal of the day.
Wow, Pilla's, his back must be sore because right now he looks to be carrying the Zephyrs. I mean, they move the ball to him. He starts the initial dodge. He's got that quick jab step, and he uses his, his just quickness, that juke and jive movement to get away and get that shot out. Now, that's the first goal that I've seen that's beat Currington high, and I noticed that as he was squaring up to that shot, he dropped his hands just a bit, because if you think about all those 5-hole goals, those low and away shots, that low mentality, Mahtomedi's had to been practicing that, and then this time Pilla goes high and it actually beats him in a fourth quarter. That's an interesting strategy too.
Pilla, as we mentioned, 14 goals in the regular year, and that is now 8 with 4 goals in each of the first 2 games. That's got to happen, right? Sometimes in the flow of a game, you as a coach can see a guy that might have a little bit of an edge. It's been Pilla today who clearly has found that edge for the Zephyrs.
Yeah, and then during timeouts or stoppages of play, you tell everyone, hey, 5's got a matchup. Let's get the ball to 5 and let him run it. And so that's what coaches do, and that's how kids get more opportunities, and it's just fun to see a kid like that shine in a tournament.
Save in front by Kegley. Had the man fly out of nowhere. Just put the cross up and knock down the high shot. Wirtz, all sorts of effort to keep it clean, and he's going to give his team at least a shot to maintain, and they do.
What a huge save by Kegley. He just set his feet and just punched high, and he was able to make that save. Love it.
How much of that do you think he even sees as coming in? He knows that's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, he's going to say he saw the thing the whole time. we both know better, but it still counts as a save.
Absolutely.
And now Egan was able to pick up the ground ball, down 3 goals with 10.5 minutes to go.
Here comes Diffley. Using that size, goes low, and that one was wide. He had 2 defenders that maintained and draped all over him.
Yeah, he almost hit that lower corner. You're down by 3 with 10.5 to go. You don't just want to shoot. You want to shoot to hit net. So when you do that, then you start to come back.
That one, a narrow angle shot from Cole Powell. Egan will maintain.
Yeah, you would love Powell to take 1 or 2 more steps, just get above the goal line extended, and then release that shot.
That's tough. Almost that 0 angle look. Back out to Mills. Egan has to value every single possession. The pass goes to Wirtz, and he just lost it. It's knocked from behind there as the whistle does come in.
It's gotta be a push. Yeah, I mean, that's just a textbook push. So now Mahtomedi's, ooh, jeez.
Lost it, loose.
Oh, another one.
And the whistle does come in. It's drowned out by some of the Wildcat fans, but yeah, that'll be a loose ball on the push there, and the Wildcats can't believe it, but you saw it, Coach, I saw it.
Yeah, Trevor Busby's been an official in this league for a long time, so he's not going to get fooled by some parents yelling one thing or another. Trevor knows what he's doing, and that clearly was a push. You've got to go to blue on that without question.
Parents wouldn't yell things, right?
Well, they're emotional.
Absolutely. Josh Campbell, and now the whistle brings it back the other way. Campbell running over Sorensen.
Yep.
At the call there.
Back and forth, aggressive motion, pushes going both ways. Players using their physicality and their emotion to get involved in the game. Let's go, right? We're at 9:37.
Yeah, it's all on the line. Well, now we've got a takedown. 2 arms around. Campbell had 2 arms around Mills.
He broke his stick, yeah. So Campbell's frustrated because on that check he ended up breaking his stick, and then he, spikes it. So he might get an unsportsmanlike conduct for that as well.
Junior has to head over, pick up a new piece of equipment.
So he just called a 30-second hold, and so what the parents are yelling here back and forth is about the emotions of this game. And you've got high school athletes that are going full throttle. They want to get to that state championship game, and they're putting their emotions out there. The refs need to calm that down a little bit. He just called a 30-second hold. Maybe that's enough to give these kids a chance to think a little bit, but maybe not. Sometimes you need to throw a bigger penalty to settle them in. So we'll see what happens here with 9:32 to go, and they're on man up.
Gaining control. It's been such a well-played game all the way through. And easy to let those emotions get out of control. Hopefully both teams can keep things in check. Mills skips it down low. Diffley sprinting inside, takes the shot. And that was saved and deflected away. No, it was controlled by Kegley.
Yeah, literally into Kegley's stick.
Right.
I mean, just throwing right at him, and he just stood there, and it hit him right in the stick, and so Mahtomedi gets a chance to run it clear.
Again, his positioning, he's right where he needs to be every time, and he's making a lot of these saves late.
Yeah, and he started making those, after the first couple he didn't hit him, but then he did, and so he got into the game. And so Kegley's been a difference maker. As much as we've been talking about Lucas Honebrink at the faceoff X and then Ryan Pilla at the midfield, I'm telling you right now, Ian Kegley in the cage has been a difference maker too.
Pilla's get it right. He has it right now. Owen Pixler, a senior, giving him some stick taps. Maintains it. Still working out that penalty with Campbell down. Now he is up and things are back to even.
Yep, so now we're all even. And we've got, 8:18 left to go on a 3-goal lead. And so this is where things need to be smart. So if Egan tries to get aggressive and let them lose their emotions, if I'm Mahtomedi, I'm playing smart, discipline lacrosse at this point.
Dardis, who, as you called him, the role player, stepping in to finish off a play. The sophomore back in. Some crucial minutes here in the fourth. His pass bounces in. Mishandled by Lindquist. Got in tight on it. Was a tough catch, and it goes back the other way.
Yep, and so now Egan gets a chance, and now Egan's going to be, with the way that they've played, if I've looked at their schedule correctly, I don't think they've been behind in a fourth quarter except for the Eastview game. So in the Eastview game, they were down. All these other games, they've been confident in carrying their game throughout the quarter. What kind of team are they? This is their Egan gut check time right now with 7:45 to go in a 3-goal deficit. What kind of team are we when it really, really counts? I think that's what we're going to see right now.
Yeah, their average margin of victory was over 8.5 goals per game. Their closest win was by 4 goals over Lakeville North. They have to get something working. Still a lot of time. Diffley out in front. Shot, long score, 2-goal game. It's Mills who finishes it off.
Yeah, I mean, that's Diffley, and then Diffley moves the ball to Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer gets it back to Diffley, and then, then we finish on the inside. And so that's the ball movement. That's the dodge, pass, dodge mentality. That's the initiate something, make the defense move, and then hit it in the back of the net. So nice job for Egan. That's the kind of team they've been all year. Now it's down to a 2-goal deficit, 11-9 with 7:24 to play.
All the emphasis back in at the face-off. And it was Colin Hagstrom that time taking it for Mahtomedi. So not Honebrink. But Hagstrom that time, and Wildcats come away with possession.
It's really, it's really important to have a backup face-off guy too. You need a guy like that to be able to step up and get in the game. And so That's an important thing. And I believe Hagstrom was the one who was feeling the effects of the heat on Tuesday too, so he was looked at in the tent, and it's glad to see him back out there.
Low shot coming around the corner for Powell. He's trying to take those where he's just at or just above the goal line. Clearly something he wants to get working.
Yeah, that's the second time in a row on 2 possessions, both for Powell, just behind the goal line, hitting the side of the net. Love to see him take 1 or 2 more steps, get his ball above the goal line, and then release that shot.
6:40 remaining. It's a 2-goal lead for the Zephyrs. They've led most of the way. Never trailed by more than a goal, and they've led by 3. Mills, shot, out the back end. The rebound goes home for the Wildcats.
Yeah, Kegley had set his feet. He committed to that low shot. He just didn't realize that it had bounced out the back door. So on the back side is where the attackman was waiting, and he put it in the back of the net.
It's either Propson or Wirtz. They all went together and hung. Initially, I thought it was Propson, number 20, who cleaned it up. We'll wait for the official announcement.
Yeah, I think that's probably right on that call.
They were both there on the back side. But either way, it's a 1-goal game, and both teams in double figures. What a shock.
Yeah, not surprised at all. So now we have another face-off opportunity here, a good battle.
It is Propson with his 3rd. Mahtomedi on the attack quickly. Lindquist, it was saved in front of the crease enough by Currington that even though it trickled behind, it didn't touch the goal line. Now the Wildcats, a chance to tie, and it's knocked away. A little of their own medicine on a pass knocked away.
Here we're playing back and forth from a 20-yard line to the 20-yard line sprints for these kids in a 4th quarter of a state semifinal game. That's leaving it on the field for sure for these guys.
17 games in for each of these teams, coming at 16-1. 5:50 to go. Somebody trying to punch their ticket to the championship game. Knocked away. Egan with the next latest chance. Tate Sundberg rolling it forward. Pass to Wirtz. Wirtz, low shot saved by Kegley.
Oh, you were just going to want to have to remember that play by Sundberg because it was such a great anticipation play, and then Wirtz doesn't score. Give tons of credit to Kegley on that huge save.
That's that 2% you were talking about earlier. That's about the only few times he's not going to score in that situation. Now it's knocked away, pushed ahead, long stick work of Eli Donnelly.
God, this is why people love lacrosse. It's back and forth action, full speed, shots, saves, clears. And Egan, they're granting Egan the timeout.
Oh my.
They are giving them the timeout.
So Dolney had it, tried to whip it forward, and it was Honebrink who intercepted, but before that, giving Egan the timeout. We called it in game 1. That was a win for one of the head coaches. Well, Coach Moosberger is going to take that one as a win right there to maintain, or excuse me, Coach Felter to maintain that as a win.
Yeah, +1 for Felter on that one. I mean, that's where, experience at the coaching position pays off because he anticipates the fact that the long pole brings it over. He's going to get double teamed pretty quickly, maybe make a bad decision because he doesn't spend a lot of time on the offensive half of the field. Coach calls timeout. Everyone in the stadium doesn't realize it, but that's where that 4th bench official comes in. All the coach has to do is walk over and say timeout, and he gets it. So it happens a lot faster in these kind of games than it does in a regular season game. So Felter got credit for that, and now he's got his team with the ball, safe, and ready to play.
So the Wildcats with the ball, down a goal. They led it 7-6 at the half. They were outscored 4-1 in the 3rd. Pilla, Stoker, Dardis, and Rohrer with the 4 goals for the Zephyrs. Diffley the lone goal for the Wildcats. So it was 10-8 going to the 4th. Pilla scored again to make it 11-8. That's the largest margin Mahtomedi has enjoyed in this game. Last 2 goals to Mills and Propson for the Wildcats to cut it back to 1. Each of these teams looking for their 17th victory to push them to the state championship game. It was a tight win in game 1 for the Zephyrs, 13-12. Rather cruising win for Egan, 19-8. Somebody's going to be tested going into that championship game out of this one.
Yeah, and going into the championship game, you've got the Benilde Red Knights coaching staff down here sitting in front of us, and they have to keep track of both teams. So they can't just record what's happening for one team because it's not a blowout. So you're studying all players in all positions, and that adds to the equation and your homework that the coaching staff has to do too. Okay, 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. They're down by a goal. Let's see what they try to initiate out of this timeout.
1-5 between the pipes in dark blue, trying to direct some traffic there. That's Kegley. He's made some outstanding saves, or perhaps the lead would already belong to Egan. As it is, the Zephyrs still maintain the 1-goal edge. Shavadl.
Wow, is he fast.
Yeah, fired that one just wide.
He hasn't done that yet today, and so we
Not
haven't
much.
called Shavadl's name. And when he caught that, he made his decision, I'm going, and he went right away. That was a great first step by him.
Mills brings down a high offering on the far side, 4.5 to go. Lobs it down towards the goal line, a little high, but brought down by Sundberg. Quiet here, everybody in anticipation. None of that parent noise we were talking about. Wirtz dodges past one man, deep shot, and he ties it up.
Yeah, give your best player the ball and have him go to work. All Wirtz did there is taxi it around the top of the box and continue to drive angle. And as he stepped down, he got to inside the hash at about 12 yards, and he released that shot. It just beat Kegley. Kegley's been playing great, but Wirtz was due after that stonewall move that Kegley had on him in the last possession. So credit to Wirtz just finding the back of the net on that. He just kept driving his feet towards the cage. You know, we've been talking about a couple games too where players have been shooting as their feet have been moving towards the sideline. That was not the case there. He was running downhill, finished the shot, really well done.
Yeah, Wirtz was denied on his last shot on basically point blank from the doorstep. That time takes it out deeper. Honebrink back where he's at home in the face-off dot. And he wins this one in a tie game at 11.
Yep, we're at the 4-minute mark now, and it's 11 up, and let's play.
Pilla looking for his fifth. He left it on the deck. Does he have space to scoop? He overran it. 2 Wildcats there, and eventually it's netted by Sorensen.
Yeah, Sorensen got lucky there that it got knocked down. It didn't go all the way out to the other side, and so now he's got a second chance. He's got the ball in his stick, and they're asking him to clear it. He's a short stick midi. They want him to run it out.
Quick pass instead up ahead to Powell. Powell sprints past the defense. Now looking for a lead. The Wildcats, they've scored 3 straight to tie. So they were down by 3 for the first time. They've never led by more than a goal and haven't spent much game time in the lead. Wirtz spins around. Offhand side. Good close. The backside defender came over. Looked like Moriarty who knocked it away.
Yeah, that was a really good play to step down to stop that dodge. Noticing, too, that Shavadl's checked back in, and you know who's got fresh legs and fast, and so those are the players you're putting back out here now, tied up with under 3 minutes to go.
Luxury to have that kind of speed to go to on the bench.
What a great check. Oh, no, and he still got beat.
Just up above the goal line for Pfeiffer. Wirtz has it now. Back to Pfeiffer. And a man inside, but Powell vacates the area. There's Shavadl up close, the defense for comfort. Shavadl on the run. Shot was deflected away by Kegley. Long stick flying in to scoop it up for the Zephyrs. We're under 2:20 to go. Knocked away.
You might want to call timeout if you're Pete Moosberger on this one.
And I think he just did.
Yeah, in these kind of games late, when your defense is handling down low, basically what you're going to do now is call timeout. You're going to put a short stick back there with the ball and let the ball handlers try to clear it for you. It's just you have a much higher percentage of clears when you do that. Ethan
Ham, a little bit of trouble working his way up the field with that long stick. Remember, Minnesota Prep Spotlight comes your way every Sunday on 45 TV. It's Minnesota Prep Spotlight, the TV show presented by Mayo Clinic Sports Medicine. First run at 9:30 on 45 TV. Tape that, watch it live, however you consume it. You can also watch it on demand here on PrepSpotlight.tv. Entire archives of our season all the way back to the fall are here on PrepSpotlight.tv. Thanks goes out to Kit Callis running our camera. He's, 5 feet away from us, but having a much different experience because he's not covered at least over the top like we are in the baking sun. Good work all season long for Kit and the rest of our camera operators at our various sites around the State High School League for lacrosse. We did a little baseball this year as well. So fun production season that'll come to a close on Saturday with the 2 championship games for boys and girls lacrosse. here. Coming down the stretch in a tie game with 2:16 to go. So that message, Coach, obviously you call the timeout to maintain possession, but it's also not that simple. You want to give them a plan to execute coming out, much like Egan did at the end of the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. Those timeouts are precious. You use one to maintain the ball in possession. Mahtomedi has chosen to keep a long stick low to make this clear. Now they're going to have to redirect it out the other side. The goaltender's open. That's clearly right now his only option, unless they have a midfielder coming in through the box, which I don't see. There is a guy right here, right by the substitution box. We'll see how this plays out. So he throws to the goalie, and then he should be able to hit 20 here right by the box. He is open.
That's Rohrer calling for it. Is that Wirtz bothering the netminder?
Wirtz versus Kegley, 3.0, the third version. In that one, Kegley makes the pass, and then they have to throw a big one across the field, and they're able to do it.
Long shot deflected away. Maybe a piece of that for Currington. It's a miss nonetheless. It's out of bounds, and it is off of the Zephyrs. No on the shot, so the Egan Wildcats were in position.
Yeah, Dolney makes another play. He made great plays when they had man-down defense. He all-out sprinted to the sideline to maintain possession or to get the possession back to his team. He's been a secret game changer here throughout the pace of this game.
Here's Mills with 1:38 to go. The next one could very well be the winner in this one, or with these two teams, we could see 4 more. 90 seconds to go. Wildcats. Know it's in the balance right here. Trying to go to the state championship game. Slipped down on the back end. Helped down. Looked like a lot of contact with the stick, and now space cleared as Aaron Propson was the one who hit the deck.
Yeah, that's another situation where you get a guy falling down and some aggressive checks happening. Looks like are they granting Egan a timeout on this then? I believe that's what they're doing. Yeah. So Egan must have been calling timeout as that play was going on. We were watching the aggressive play on both sides like we had, just a few moments ago when the refs were trying to settle everyone down and get some of that emotion in control. And so now Egan's got the ball, 1:17 left. They're on the offensive half of the field, and so maybe some good things can happen for them.
The Wildcats had the execution at the end of half number 1 that allowed them to score 2 goals in the final 19 seconds. Here they need 1. All right, you've had in the hands of the best player, Wirtz, to score some goals late. Does that have to really be where it starts for the Wildcats? You're at this point in the season. You need basically 1 goal to at least put yourself in a spot to hang on to win this one. Do you just have to go with your best top scorer at this point, or do you make it a little more complicated than that?
Well, ideally it ends up with Wirtz probably with some time and room and making a play. I mean, I feel like Pfeiffer's done a great job with his quick steps behind the net to initiate, to get his hands free, to force Mahtomedi to slide. And so what that's been doing then is opening up some different plays. I mean, yes, Pfeiffer can do it. Sorensen can do it. I mean, you've got guys that, have been, scoring goals today beyond just Wirtz, but potentially it'll probably end up in Wirtz's stick, and he'll be the kid who might get that last shot of the game and potentially push this team forward. Egan's fighting. They want to win. They want to get to Saturday, and that's why they're here right now. Let's go.
Both of these teams seeking not only their first state title, but either one would be making their first appearance in the state title game.
Yeah, Diffley's a threat too, just purely because of his size, and he's been an initiator on a few dodges, or he's been rolled to the inside where he's big and tall and gets his hands free. So I wouldn't be surprised if Diffley was able to hit one either for a game winner on the inside with that size advantage.
He had one of those late goals in that first half, so we're underway, coming up to the minute mark. Wirtz started to tumble forward as he was watched by Ham. Pops it back out, goes for Powell. Plenty of space, he skips it to the far side.
1 minute.
Mills and Powell up top, along the opposite side for Pfeiffer. Wirtz has been hanging out on this near side. He's off to the right of his nemesis, Kegley. Passes it quickly right back out to Sorensen.
Yep, Sorensen popped off the crease to get the ball up top again like they had done before in a different set. And so now they're going to try to get that dodge.
35 seconds left.
There goes Mills.
Mills sends it towards the goal line.
Yep, that's Diffley with the size.
Diffley in front of the crease, shoots and scores! 25 seconds to go.
Crease violation.
No, he was in the crease. So Mahtomedi will maintain.
Yep,
19 seconds left. They turn it over. Nearly, and then scooped up on the near side by Moriarty.
All right, here we go.
And a timeout. Zephyrs get it.
12.2 seconds left to tie game. A crease violation. I mean, I had talked about Diffley coming out of that timeout. The kid just has a ton of size, and he can just beat guys too. And what the ref saw is his feet come through that crease as he was releasing that shot. That's a no-goal situation, and then therefore it stays tied up. And now Mahtomedi gets a ground ball. They call a timeout with 12.2 and a tie game to advance to the state championship.
So the Wildcats had it. The look they wanted. Half a step to a step too close and over the crease. And that's your difference right now between 12-11 and maybe a face-off win to seal it. And now you've got to play at least 12 seconds of defense here. Mahtomedi, same question. They've got some guys. Obviously, the man of the day has been Pilla, scoring his 4 goals.
Yeah, but you've got Timmy Lindquist, who initiates in the backside. Josh Campbell, who moves his feet so fast. Connor Stoker has had a couple good looks and dodges to initiate things, too. They may not have all the goals, but those guys have been working hard, just like Pilla. And so, I mean, I think you've got some options here with Mahtomedi, and I feel like you're going to see some movement, some guys on the backside, maybe a pass-through, and then just into a quick shot. Hey, could secretly be Putney again, you know. The kid who hasn't scored today could end it here today, just like he did in the other game.
Looking for 2 game winners.
Yep, there you go.
Currington between the pipes. Start with Pilla. 12 seconds. Not a lot of time to mess around. Goes back to Campbell. Campbell less than 6. Campbell's got to run. Got to let it go. Campbell, the man to do it, shoots. And it's deflected away, and we will go to overtime in the semifinal of state lacrosse. And the next goal will win it.
Well, we got the 1-goal game in the first game. We're going to get the 1-goal game here in the second game. And so as we both walked into the booth today to start talking about these 4 teams that we were going to have in front of us, we were crossing our fingers hoping for 1-goal games, and that's what we've got here. I've seen a lot of good things from the goaltenders in this game. It's just really sad that one of them is going to come away the loser because they both played really, really well in the nets, and that's why this game is still 11 up.
And that's the game. This is the game that feels like the 1-goal game. The dynamic of our first game was a late charge from Wyzetta. Give them all the credit in the world to earn that. But this one, it's been back and forth. It took a 3-goal run there at the end of regulation to tie it for Egan. There was a 3-goal run to the start of the third quarter for Mahtomedi. This is basically a heavyweight fight going back and forth.
Yeah, you love it, right? So this is what we all hope for, and when we give our players an opportunity to win a big game in overtime, and we've worked all season for this, and you know, it just comes down to the fact that both these teams are really balanced and have a lot of points on the board throughout the season. You've got goal scorers all over the place. Mahtomedi, with Lindquist and Campbell and Stoker and Honebrink, and then you've got Egan with Wirtz and Pfeiffer and Propson and Sorensen and Mills. I mean, it's just such a fun thing to watch, and this game has definitely been worth the price of admission and then some.
2 of the top teams in the state, the 1 seed in the tournament, Egan, the 4 seed in the tournament, Mahtomedi. And like you were telling me off the air, I mean, it's a conference call that decides all that. You got 2 15-1 teams. The little number in front doesn't really matter all that much when you put things on, pick up the sticks, and you play at this point.
Yeah, you certainly disregard the seeding numbers and all that stuff. Once the guys in the zebra stripes take the field and everyone knows that they're going to put a ball down and we're going to face off, nobody cares about what seed number you had or this or that. It's all about players making effort, coaches helping their players make good decisions, and then the kids executing. It's so fun to watch high school athletes play at this level, and this game has been super fast-paced back and forth.
They just did a coin toss. Is that for side of the field that they're looking at? What was that determining?
Yeah, so your captains go out for the coin toss, and if you have it, you can choose. You can either choose that you want to defend a certain end of the net if you feel like sun is going to be a factor, or it would be I would take the first alternate possession. You'd want to take the alternate possession if sun wasn't a big deal. This field, there's kind of a sun issue. You have shadows that point to the goalie over there on that one side, so I would guess that Egan probably won it and chose to defend the far end. That's a smart decision.
Whistle is going to give Mahtomedi possession.
Move the ball.
Honebrink couldn't find the ball. There it is.
You believe that?
And it's turned away. Taken away by Sorensen. So now Egan with the first chance. 1 to win it and go to the state championship game. And they turn it over. It's swarmed by the defense.
Look at this. The nerves just ratchet up tenfold. So we have mistakes all over the place right now. The kids are super excited and super nervous. I'd be tempted to maybe call a timeout here and settle them all down. But Egan, run and gun. Here we go.
Egan had the goal waved off with the crease violation. That was Diffley. Inside of 13 seconds to go. Now we've almost played a minute of overtime action.
Yeah, Wirtz is going to go. He wants to dodge.
50 into the state tournament. Pass, shot, score, and a berth in the championship game. Cole Powell finishes it off.
Yeah, I mean, you knew this point was coming in this game, and both these teams played super great and left it all out there. It's just, you knew Wirtz was setting up that dodge, and all they were looking for was the defense to give him a passing lane. So the defense gave him a small passing lane. Cole Powell was open on the inside. He caught that pass and literally stung that low corner away from Ian Kegley, a kid who has played great today.
Kegley had that team in the lead up until the 4:13 mark of the fourth quarter. It took 3 straight goals for Egan to tie. They had to score the last 4 to win it, the last coming in overtime. And the emotions, as you know, into the long season, the Zephyrs are going to come up short. Wildcats overjoyed, but Coach, that one we just saw, as far as, again, I don't have as many years watching this tournament as you do, but that's one of the better ones I've seen, certainly with the stakes that we had.
Yeah, the fun part about this game is you got to see all aspects of it. You got to see good offense, good defense, even good man down. I mean, like, you don't talk a lot about those special teams, but in a game like this, you got to see that. You got to see players rise to that level, and this is a memorable state tournament game, absolutely. I appreciate you bringing that up, JW, because sometimes we lose focus on some things like that. We're just focused on the kids advancing and the teams going forward, but really, all in all, really good game both ways.
You remember this one, circle it both ways, and again, it's going to be week, 2 weeks, maybe a month for the